There is probably no such thing as the best 3D artist or the best 3D modeler in the world, but there seems to be a certain agreement that one guy called Vitaly Bulgarov can fit this description. Like he's so good, many say he's probably the best ever. Even when I asked Alex Alvarez, the founder of Nomad, this exact question, here is what he said.
He's amazing. I've known him for a long time now. He's just always been a machine. That guy works so hard.
Vitaly has worked on the most high-profile hard surface and robotic characters ever, like Robocop, Transformers, Alita the Battle Angel, Ghost in the Shell, and others. So who's this 3D artist, and how was he able to become so good at modeling such characters and designs? Before we continue, I want to tell you about Nomad, which was founded by Alex Alvarez, but I want to focus on the Nomad Workshop specifically, because I'm sure it can help you. So if you've ever wondered how artists end up working at big studios, like Pixar, ILM, or Naughty Dog, a big part of that journey is learning from the right people. And that's exactly what the Nomad Workshop is all about. It is an online platform where you can learn directly from industry professionals who've worked on major films and games. They cover everything from modeling, animation, concept art, and more. And you've got hundreds of courses about film, game development, animation, you name it. These courses use all different 3D software, from Maya, Max, Houdini, ZBrush, Blender, and others. And right now, you can get 20% off their subscription using the code TUTS20. All the links will be in the description. Vitaly Bulgarov didn't come from some elite art school pipeline, or anything like that. His story is actually way more self-built than people think. He grew up in Russia, and like a lot of 3D artists, it really started with sci-fi movies and games. He was into sci-fi stuff and playing games with his brother, and this kinda planted the seed early, and I would say a lot of us share a similar origin story. What's interesting is that his first step into 3D wasn't because he wanted to be a professional artist, it was just curiosity. He started messing around with game modding and level design, which naturally pulled him into 3D modeling later. So he didn't have a formal art background at first. He basically learned 3D on his own, just experimenting, practicing, and figuring things out, and learning from other artists online. After a couple of years, he realized something important. His 3D skills were improving, but his fundamental art skills were kinda weak. So he went back and started teaching himself drawing, studying art books, and building that foundation properly, which was a turning point in his story. At some point, he even dropped out of university after like 2 years and moved back to Moscow to fully commit to becoming a 3D artist. And this is where it gets kinda intense. He was basically working all day on game projects, then studying and freelancing at night, grinding non-stop. No shortcuts, just pure obsession. Another big moment for him was when he got his first online freelance job. Back then, working online over the internet wasn't common. So this kind of flipped a switch in his head. He realized it didn't matter where you're from. You could still work for global studios if your skills are good enough. What made Vitaly stand out isn't just because he does hard surface modeling, it's how he approaches it. His style is like industrial design meeting sci-fi. So instead of making cool looking robots, he designs them like they could actually exist, thinking about joints, materials, structure, even how parts would be manufactured. That's why his models feel super believable, almost like real engineering products, not just art. And here is what Alex Alvarez said about Vitaly.
He's amazing. I've known him for a long time now. Because we met probably like 18 years ago when he was working at Blizzard. He was in the cinematics group, and I was dating somebody who was in the cinematics group. And at that time, he was like 23, and he's just always been a machine. That guy works so hard and has such good taste, right? It really comes down to taste with art, you know? Everybody's got different tastes. It's very subjective. And but a lot of people love his stuff, right?
And technically his workflow is kind of next level. He mixes sculpting, subdivision modeling, and even CAD tools in one pipeline, going from rough shapes to insanely clean, precise mechanical parts. One of his projects is called Alita, the Battle Angel. He literally treated pieces like real products, refining them through multiple stages, until they looked like something which you could build in real life. This level of precision is what separates him from a lot of artists who just focus on the visuals. And think about it, if you're making something like robots, exosuits or sci-fi tech, you don't just want something cool, you want something incredible. But this wasn't the only high-profile project he worked on. Ghost in the Shell is one of his most detailed projects. He actually designed Major's full cybernetic body, not just the outer look, but the internal structures too, like the robotic skeleton, muscles, and layered shell. He also designed the spider tank, in addition to drones, props, and even environments for key scenes. So basically he helped define how the main character physically existed in that world, which is a huge deal. Then you've got RoboCop, and here his role was about evolving the design. He worked on the RoboCop suit itself, pushing it toward a more sleek, modern, almost automotive look. Instead of the bulky original, he explored materials, proportions, and mobility, and this 3D design was actually used as a base for the real physical suit, built for the movie, so his work literally translated into something actors could wear. And with Transformers: Age of Extinction, it was a bit different, but still in his lane. He contributed as a concept designer working on the robotic and mechanical designs for the film. And in projects like Transformers, there are tons of artists involved, so his role was part of a bigger pipeline, focused on what he does best, believable and complex mech designs. But it doesn't stop there. He also worked on films like The Terminator Genesis, again focusing on sci-fi characters, robotic systems, and mechanical concepts. Other than film, interestingly enough, he worked for an actual robotics company, like Boston Dynamics. But he didn't join Boston Dynamics as a designer. His role was about how robotics should look, move, and feel, especially early on when companies are still figuring out ideas. He worked on concepts for bipedal robots, I mean the robots that walk on two legs, helping shape their form and visual logic. And this is important. Robotics companies don't just need engineers, they also need people who can visualize the future so everyone gets the idea. That's why Vitaly fits in. He did what is called R&D concept design, basically exploring crazy ideas first, then working with engineers to turn some of those ideas into something real. So his job looked something like this. First, he would design these super advanced robot concepts, thinking about joints, movements, proportions, and how a robot would actually function. Then, if a concept got approved, he would collaborate with engineers to make sure it could actually be built using CAD tools, adjusting parts and making sure everything fits and moves correctly. And this work wasn't just in theory. He also worked on real robotics related projects, like the giant mech suit called Method 1 and Method 2, where he acted as a chief designer, applying that same mindset, making something that looks cinematic but also grounded in real mechanics. Now, what about his journey in game development? He entered the industry as a 3D artist and concept designer, working on big titles like StarCraft 2 and Diablo 3. So early on, he was contributing to games visually, designing characters, environments, and cinematic assets, basically helping shape how these worlds looked and felt, rather than building the gameplay itself. But over time, you can see his role slowly expanding. He wasn't just modeling anymore. He was getting involved in design thinking, how things fit into a world, how characters function, and how the overall vision comes together. And that shift from artist to world builder is what kind of pushed him toward actual game development. Then comes the big turning point. He co-founded his own studio, called Symmetry. And this is where things changed completely, because now he wasn't just contributing to games, he's helping create one from scratch, with a game called Mortal Shell. He stepped into roles like creative direction, art direction, and even narrative and world building, meaning he had a hand in shaping the entire experience, not just the visuals. You see, what's cool is how his background influenced the game itself. Mortal Shell has this heavy, grounded, almost physical feel, and this comes directly from his experience in hard surface design and modeling, and realistic mechanical thinking. Even though it is a fantasy game, it feels kind of designed, not just imagined. And despite being a small indie team, the game still managed to punch above its weight and reach a global audience. And there you have it, guys. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget about Nomad Workshop. If you want to become a top-level artist, or just learn from experienced artists in the industry and take advantage of that 20% off deal. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.